Well, we'll talk more about that and Arsenal a little bit later on. But just before we stop this chat, Clinton, you always said that you felt like this League Cup final would then impact the rest of the season and how the title race pans out. What are your thoughts now that we know the answer, we know who's won it?
No, but Pep just said it there. Arsenal are the favourites. And Arsenal are the favourites still for me. Do you know why they're the favourites? Because they had the draw against Forest and West Ham. If Man City had won those both games, I'm telling you now, after watching it yesterday, City would have gone on and won the Premier League. Because it would have been a mentality thing and a big shift at the moment. I'm not saying it's totally over. But if I had to pick the here and now, Arsenal are going to win the Premier League. Because you look at the games it's just so tight with the remaining fixtures that they have.
But they've got the points on the board, haven't they?
And that's what I mean. They've got the points on the board. And you look at the teams that they've got to play. Fulham at home, not maybe an outside chance of Europe. Palace away. By then, Palace could be concentrating if they're in the Europa Conference League final. Burnley, you know, could be West Ham. The toughest game for me on paper is probably West Ham away. And yeah, maybe Newcastle at home. But the West Ham game, they were fighting for their lives. But you never know what effect like yesterday could have on that Arsenal team.
It's more about response now, isn't it?
It is a response. I mean, they'll be hurting, you know. They'll be hurting. You know why they'll be hurting? Because they've had to sit there and watch Man City lift the trophy and celebrate in front of them. So they'll be hurting. But whatever happened to them yesterday was they were nowhere near good enough, though. It was a shadow of the Arsenal I've seen this season. But they'll be hurting and they will recover and they will come again. And I look at that fixture list and I do think, you know, they could go unbeaten from now to the end of the season, but...
Which would include a win over City,
though. No, sorry. I think City beat Arsenal. I still think there'll be 3 points in it. I think Man City will beat Arsenal. I do think Man City will beat them at the Etihad. But what Man City have got is Chelsea before that. They take one game at a time because Chelsea are not in good form at the moment. But I do believe Man City will beat Arsenal. But I still think Arsenal will go on and win the Premier League. Because after that, I think the toughest game then, in my eyes, is West Ham. We're fighting for their life. If West Ham take points off them, it's open. But you just don't know how damaging that defeat was for Arsenal. But I think they've got a good manager, a good group of players that will rebuild and go again. But the performance I saw from Arsenal in the second half is not what I've seen. They missed Eze big time. They missed that creative spark. Obviously, he picked up an injury, and he turns up at Wembley. I've seen that firsthand last season when he was at Palace. That is it. That is his ground, and they did miss him. They missed that creative spark. That's why I was surprised he didn't throw on young Max Dowman. Because if a man in that situation, the youngsters got no fear, just throw him onto the pitch because it was flat in the ground, and they needed a lift, Arsenal. They didn't get a lift, but they'll come again. It's not all doom and gloom for Arsenal.
Still in three competitions. Yeah. How was that?
Yeah, it was brilliant.
Was it?
Credit to the EFL. They sent me an invite, so I'd like to shout out the EFL for the invite. It was a brilliant... Yeah, it was
you get invited to the best gigs, don't you?
Yeah, it was a good day out, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was good to not be working and just watch it and be there, and yeah, it was a good game.
I think we were together on Saturday and working on Soccer Saturday, and you and the other guys were giving your thoughts ahead of the game and your predictions ahead of the final. I think you said 2-1 Manchester City.
Yeah, I said I felt too. Yeah,
so you thought going into it City were going to win?
Yeah, I thought they were going to win just because they needed a response after what happened in the Champions League. And
did it unfold how you thought? What did City get right and Arsenal ultimately get wrong?
First half was cagey, but I thought Arsenal shaded it. I was surprised. I'm going to hold my hand up and say when I saw Nathan Ake start, but then Diaz was obviously not fit and Stones is not ready to start games and Gay couldn't play. So but I must say Ake was outstanding. After the first 10 minutes, I was thinking Gyökeres could cause him problems there, but after that, they were brilliant. I think Pep got his spot, and I thought Man City took control in the second half. And for the life of me, I don't know what happened to Arsenal because their passing was off. They didn't have no tempo in anything they'd done. This is probably the first time this season I'm going to be critical of what Arsenal did in the second half. But you have to praise City. I thought they were brilliant. I thought Rodri, watching on TV is different. When you're there live and you're watching him, he was all over the place. Bernardo Silva, a genius. Cherky, yeah, taking liberties a bit, but he's a very, very good footballer.
We'll come back to that.
I know we'll come back to that, but he's a very, very good footballer.
Yes. One player you haven't actually mentioned there is Nico O'Reilly.
No, but I like him. I knew we were coming. I knew we were getting to him.
Fine.
Yeah, he's a top player.
Look, man of the match. What a day for him. This is his boyhood club, scoring 2 goals in a cup final.
Yeah, it's brilliant. And you know what? The first one's a mistake from Kepa. It doesn't matter. He's playing left back. Look where he is. He's on the 6-yard box ready to
but
score a goal.
But he's always in those positions.
He is in those positions. Nunez, the other right back, is crossing, and it's a fantastic header. Do you know why he's in those positions, Emma? Because when he was younger, he was a midfielder. Yeah. And Pep recently has been playing him in midfield. Only the last couple of games, put him back to left back. But I've met him before. He's a great great kid, and he wants to do well, and everything's going well for him at the moment, and he thoroughly deserves it. He was the hero. And, you know, he knows the club inside out. It was his day, and he thoroughly deserved it. I thought he was brilliant. I thought he was not just good going forward, the 2 goals. Defending against Saka, who I like. I love Saka. He's done ever so well against Saka. I thought he was fantastic, the young man, and he deserved it. And it was his birthday the day before. So what a birthday gift that was to score 2 goals.
Celebrate after that.
Wow, it was brilliant.
But first choice for England in terms of that left-back position?
Yeah, at the moment, I think it's always going to be a battle between him and Lewis Hall. But I think at the moment, Thomas Tuchel, he's one of those... When you've done well for him, and Nico O'Reilly, when he's gone, he's done well, he kind of sticks with that. And at the moment, if you keep putting performances like that in big finals as well, that's when you show up in big finals. This was a big final for the youngster, and he was brilliant. I thought, yeah, outstanding, to be fair. So for me, first choice at the moment.
Yeah, you make a good point there. It's not any old game, was it?
No,
it's
a final
at Wembley.
Exactly.
I want to ask you about Pep's celebrations as well.
Yeah, Pep celebration. You know what, Pep's...
Did you read anything?
I like Pep's swagger though. Against Real Madrid, I wasn't quite sure about it.
Again,
but yeah, his swagger. I like the swagger.
Can't argue with that.
He looked good on the touchline, to be fair. But this celebration just goes to show, yeah, you can keep talking about Arsenal going to win the quadruple. No, my team are not going anywhere. And when he kicked that, I was like, oh, be careful. You don't injure yourself, to be fair, because those advertising boards are quite strong. Now, when they scored the second, he ran down that touchline and he celebrated him with the Man City fans. But yeah, that's pure emotion from Pep Guardiola. And you know what? A lot of people said, oh, will he be here in the summer? Will he not be here? We're not sure at the moment, but we don't want to lose that because that's what Pep Guardiola's about. There's obviously a family member that he called in from the crowd.
His daughter.
To go and, nice moment
to
to go and celebrate with her. And yeah, it's fantastic. Top manager, the best to ever do it, and he got his game plan spot on, and that's what Pep Guardiola does. When it's the big games, I'm not saying all the time he gets it right. He'd probably be the first one, but yesterday he got it spot on, and I for one and everyone else want to see Pep Guardiola in the Premier League next year's season. He makes the game look so beautiful, and a lot of people can learn from him.
Yes, very well said. You touched on Ryan Cherky earlier
wow.
and the keepy uppies.
Yeah.
What would you have done if you saw him?
No. I'm up front. I'm coming back. He's going to get a big tackle. I don't really care.